Okay, guys, today we have selected a muscular group that I need you to work a lot. It's the gluteus, the glutes, right? Mostly women want to work this out. Guys are like, maybe I don't need it. I'd rather work chest or biceps, but it's a very important muscular group. And especially if you're having knee pain or knee instability, and if you have back pain too. And I'm going to show you why. You know, the three main groups that muscular groups that we'll find in the glutes are the glute medialis, minimus, and maximus, right? The glute minimus is more a support group of muscles for the medialis, and this is the one that's going to really help us with our knees. But also we need to strengthen the gluteus maximus, and I'm going to explain you why. The function of the glutes are extension of the hips. Is the first function. So you want to stand up straight, don't have back pain. You want to have strong glutes. The second thing is it'll give us PPT, which is posterior pelvic tilt. That will prevent your abs to be loose and will alleviate a lot of tension on your lower back. The other thing is that it provides stability to your knees. Your knees are stable because of your glutes, not because of all those leg extensions you do in the gym. And the other thing is that it provides external rotation to our hips, right? So our mobility will be benefited. So if you thought glutes were just for girls in the gym that want to look, bootylicious, and you're wrong. And it also is going to be beneficial for your deadlift, for your squat, for your vertical jump, and your overall speed. Every sport can be benefited by this. Not only you're going to get rid of that knee pain. So let's do it. Okay, handsome people, this is what I'm talking about. I want you to watch this diagram of how the muscle is inserted in your pelvis to see how it works. There's going to be the obturator and the piriformis muscle. We're not going to talk about those ones. The piriformis just gives the shape of the gluteus, that rounded shape that your butt has. And we're going to talk about the gluteus maximus, the medius, and the minimus. The minimus is basically to support the movement of the gluteus medius. If you see on the left side of the diagram, you can see that the gluteus medius is going straight down the pelvis from the iliac crest. And that will help us if you see how the fibers are facing mostly vertically. They contract, they go shorter in that direction, and they extend in that one. So they're good for lifting your leg sideways and to provide abduction on your legs, right? So that's the way that muscle is going to shorten and strengthen themselves. So why is that? Because the pelvis moves a lot. It moves, it tilts, it rotates, and it tilts sideways. So when we move and the pelvis is in proper position and in proper function, it's a very mobile joint. Then our body is structured the way that there's not so mobile joints, and on top of it it's a mobile one, and then it's a fixed and not so mobile one. So the knee is supposed to just open and close. It shouldn't rotate sideways, you know what I'm saying? So the pelvis provides the flexibility of movement, so it's a very loose joint. But what happens if my pelvis cannot tilt from side to side, right? Lifting one hip over the other one. Now the knee has to provide extra movement, and so you can move or displace yourself. So this is when we get varus or valgus. That means when your knees pop to the side or cave in when you're walking or running. So if your gluteus medius is strong and has a strong support by the gluteus minimus, then your knee will actually work as it should work, and you won't have that knee pain, right? Because now your hip is doing the mobility part, and your knee is just bearing weight and flexing and extending forwards. The same thing is with the glutes, since the hip rotates one side of the hips. For you to take a step, it's always in front of the other, right? The glute provides that rotation, the external rotation. It means it goes to the back, and it can also provide the spacing for the other hip to go front. At the same time, the gluteus maximus is extending the body. If you see the graphic on the right side, you see that the fibers of the gluteus are diagonally. So that's why it can extend your hip, but at the same time, it can provide external rotation. That's what we want to do. And when you have a bad posture, if your glutes are weak, you cannot have a neutral hip position, right? Generally, people who are weak in the glute or in the abs, and generally they are both, you have anterior pelvic tilt. This means your abs are stretched out, your butt kind of pops up. Let's say you're in a curved position from the front, and your back is constantly arched. So this arching provides constant tension in your back and your lower back, and now your lower back is tense and it cannot move properly. It's not loose. Your back should be a big rubber band that transmits energy for you to move, to sway your hips, right? To tilt them, rotate them, to tilt side to side, and tilt anteriorly and posteriorly, so you to move freely. But if your back is tense, then you can't do that. And again, you have the back providing the tension and the stability, because the hip cannot do its work, and that's going to provide you a lot of pain and a lot of mobility problems. And how does this translate to sports? Well, obviously, if you want to do a sport and you cannot activate the glutes, you're losing a lot of muscle to power your movement, but also you're doing everything in the wrong order. So the switches are not turning on and off as they should. So that's why we're doing a lot of these exercises and in this way, so the muscles learn how to move properly. The other thing, we're doing a lot of them because the glute has to be active all day long, not only when you deadlift. So you're wondering why are we not doing big weights with it? You will do it if you lift, and you will provide power if you sprint or jump, but it has to be working all the time, even in your rest periods. So that's why we're doing a lot of repetitions and a lot of sets. So be mindful of that. Please do a lot of these. Do the quantities well done in a controlled fashion, and you can do this at least 3 times a week as a warm-up or as a workout, depending on how many exercises and sets you choose. But you can even do 5 sets of these. So enjoy the exercises, work on them, and I hope you get better soon. Okay, let's do it. Okay, let's get started. You can use a rubber band, but master them with your own body weight first, please. The first one is going to be clams, lie on your side, open up and close them down like if you were a clam, right? Second one, reverse clams. You lift the outer part of your foot. This will help the gluteus minimus a lot. Second one looks easy. It's Jane Fonda, like those aerobic videos of the past. But believe me, the quantity is and the control is the key. Now you can add external rotation, and this will light up your gluteus medius. Of course, you can do this standing up, but do not lose your posture, right? Maintain your proper posture and lift it as much as you can. Then you squat out and open and close your knees. This is great to get depth on those Olympic lifts, but everybody should be doing it. Variation of this exercise is, of course, the monster walk. You can do it with a rubber band or without it. I'm doing it here just to show you how normally people do it. But if you really have weak gluteus medius, don't do it like that. Next one is just opening up, alternate or both feet at a time. And also you can add external rotation with your foot on the ground or with your foot in the air, however you prefer. Listen and listen. Now we have the exercises that will work more on the gluteus maximus, but also the whole gluteus complex. You get on your knees and your hands, and now you lift your leg, right? This the other one looks like if your dog goes to do pee pee on a hydrant. This will work a lot on your gluteus medius, and it also works on the core, so it's pretty good for an overall work. It also gives a movement pattern when we activate the glutes first and then the back and the biceps femoris. So do these. They are very good for you, and they provide all the movements your hip does, right? We have rotation, we have anterior and posterior pelvic tilt, we have extension. So do them a lot. These pendulums also give us a wider range of motion in the glute. You can do them with external rotation once your foot doesn't touch the ground, but it's really hard. So try to master them, the other phases first. The other one is the simple hyperextensions. Make sure you don't do them with your back. Do them with your glute. Push with your glute against the ground and open your knees. This is actually working the glute in the direction. The fibers will move in the direction they're meant to. Now you can put the outside of the sole, the edges of your shoe, and do the same exercise. It takes it to another level of difficulty. So do all the variations, right? So you can activate the whole range of motion of the glute. Now, you can also do them with one leg, very sport specific. And then you can just do extensions standing up, right? Don't take the foot too far back, just extend completely. And you can do also the external rotation, right? With a rubber band, you can do the same exercise, and if you're slow to the initial point, you'll work a lot on your hamstring. So that's a good variation and adding one muscle group. The other one is hyperextension. This time we want to go all the way back. We are holding our weight against the wall so we don't lose our posture, or at least not as much. And then you hyperextend and abduct. This is very simple but very challenging. And the other version is abduction and kicking